Ahoy, fellow viewers. I hope you are all doing well today. I certainly am not. That's right, you thought that from the title that this would be a positive video, but it was I, your daily dose of negativity. Of course, this goes without saying, but if you are someone who gets turned off by negative content, feel free to hop off and watch a Hamza video on how to convince your parents that protein is healthy. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's hop in.
Yikes, Drake. Have you tried being confident?
Before we start, I need to tell you guys a story. So this story starts out just yesterday, actually. I'd just come home from working the night shift, and I realized that everyone I worked with, spare the doctors, were only around 5 to 7 years older than me, but were already married and even had kids. And I soon realized that I didn't have much time as anticipated. I'm 20 years old, for context, and everyone's always like, oh, you have so much time to find somebody and have a family and blah blah blah. But I haven't had a girl express interest in me since high school, and I realized I need to get into my first relationship. So there's this girl that's in one of my school organizations, and we collaborate quite a bit for it. And over the past few months, we've talked back and forth, got to know each other, not super well, but well enough that both of us were acquainted at the very least. Now, I did find her somewhat attractive, but she wasn't exactly at the top of my priority list when it came to girls I wanted to ask out. However, since I've pretty much exhausted all my other options, I figured I'd at least give it a shot. So yesterday we had to do some college tabling event, and we got a lot of time just to ourselves at this event. We would just be sitting there scrolling our phones in the meantime. We weren't talking to students, and it takes a good amount of courage to ask out girls for me.
And I need to unironically work up the confidence to do so. I spent the whole time there biting my tongue, thinking about what I would say.
And I eventually asked her out as we were taking everything down and cleaning up. I just asked her if she wanted to go out with me anytime, or if she was already in a relationship, to which she already told me that she was already dating somebody, and that she was in a relationship for 3 years, in fact. So I guess I didn't know her as well as I thought I did. And she was pretty polite about it, and obviously I wasn't really mad about it either. I think that the one silver lining about adulthood is that people don't get mad when you ask them out anymore. They just move on. Sure, maybe in her mind she was kind of grossed out that I thought I had a chance with her, and maybe if she was getting ready to go to her next class, she was caging about it, but for the most part, she didn't seem super bothered. And in high school, girls would legit get hostile if I expressed interest in them, so it was really nice to have a friendly conversation for once. We just said our goodbyes afterwards, and went our separate ways. Although I do admit it was kind of embarrassing to get hit by the I have a boyfriend card for the first time. In my head, I was thinking to myself, wow, at least I built up the confidence to ask her out, bro. On the way back home, however, I began to realize how truly futile this was. After all, even if I never asked her out, I would have saved myself the embarrassment and still would have had the same outcome. Sure, maybe I would have had the peace of mind that would have come from wondering 5 years down the line, damn, maybe I did have a chance with her and I never took it. But in reality, nothing would have really changed since she would have been in a relationship regardless. Because when I asked her out, she had a boyfriend, right? So I could have dated her. But if I would have never asked her out, we still wouldn't have dated. So either way, I would have come back single and alone. And I know some Hamza viewers would be like,
Bro, you showed confidence and took charge of your life. You went out there and got rejected, and you're a stronger person because of it. That's what Thorfinn from Vinland Saga told me.
what do they expect is gonna happen after I get rejected? Am I supposed to be like,
Okay, I understand it now.
I think people overhype these small victories in their lives to make themselves feel better about their life and feel like they have control in their lives. And both men and women do this. My female friends are the human equivalent of those comments under Inkwell videos that read, "The reason why you don't have a girlfriend is because what you say is creepy and weird." And I hung out with this said friend group a week ago, before the story above I mentioned happened. Now, this is the same group of girls from the whole height measuring debacle that I mentioned in my shoeless video, so if you haven't seen that video, feel free to click on it after you're done with this one. And needless to say, all of us are pretty chopped in this friend group, including myself, and as a result, none of us have really dated anyone. Of course, they can't get into relationships since they want guys way out of their league, whereas I can't even get my own looks match, but that's besides the point. And again, this is a 100% platonic friend group. There's not really any attraction either way, so it's not like I can really date any of them. Not that I really want to. And you know what? Scratch that, because I remember at my One Night at Scarlett's Halloween party, I did ask out one of them because I got super wasted. And she's like, oh, you're just a friend, Dre. So there you go. Before you guys are like, oh, fake, so I asked out one of them, right? And she said no, so there you go. But anyways, that's completely irrelevant. At this point, we were talking about relationships, right? That's the topic that came up. And eventually they're asking me about my relationship status.
Hey Dre, give us some life updates.
Oh, did anything crazy happen to you? Yeah, your stories are always the best.
And that's another thing. They only keep me around since my life is such a nightmare that they can just laugh at it and feel better about their own lives. Similar to how a lot of people watch DVDR's videos, I explained how I tried here and there to get into relationships, and how they didn't really work. Obviously I didn't gesture max or be too upfront like I am on this channel, but I told them the ups and downs, and of course they gave me the generic answers.
It's okay, Dre. You shot your shot and did what you could. It's a small victory.
Yikes, Drathan. Have you tried being confident?
Keep grinding, keep hustling, shoot for your dreams. You can do anything you want, I promise you. You've just got to take that first step. Take that hard step of actually doing something.
Don't worry, Dre. You'll get into a relationship eventually. You just need to love yourself.
And this might come as a shock to many of you guys, but I actually do like the person that I am today, as opposed to the self-hatred I had for myself back in my teenage years. And you should like yourself, as you're the one person on this planet who shares 100% of the same interests, aspirations, and skills with yourself, as if that wasn't obvious enough. And I do think I'm worthy of love and a relationship and all that. That's your daily dose of blue pill for today. But the blue pills are gonna get mad, right? They say, "Oh, you are enough, sweetie, teehee," so that when you get rejected, you have no choice but to blame it on yourself. What I'm saying is that personality-wise, you are enough. Your looks, money, and status, those are the things that are missing. But what the blue pillars don't understand is that self-respect doesn't translate into respect from others. After all, you see self-absorbed people all the time who are hated by everyone. There isn't necessarily a guarantee that others will automatically feel the same just because you like yourself. So as I was saying earlier, I was mildly annoyed on this fine evening, and I asked my female friends this: if I suddenly became incredibly confident and loved myself this instant, would you all magically fall in love with me? And you don't have to say anything out loud, but just answer that question in your head. And they try to give me responses, but nothing really coherent came out. And I guess we just kind of moved on to the next topic. And obviously I'm not going to completely shove my ideologies in their face so bluntly, since it would kill the vibe. But I did get them to at least think about it for 30 seconds before they brain dumped my hypothetical. And a lot of people always say, hey, as long as you get the other side to at least consider your position, you've won. So, I'm pretty happy, I guess. It seems like everyone has already had a relationship at my age at some point in their life. I gotta accept I'll never be a girl's first love, and even if I get into a relationship, I will always be compared to the guy she dated in her youth. And I really wish I wasn't so picky when I was younger. Something I'm learning as I get older is that as a sub-5 male, you never say no to anything, unless it's meth or an invite to the Diddy party. Girls can be picky with who they date, since they have to put in the same amount of effort to filter out guys as we put in to find one girl that likes us. I never really got this concept until I started a YouTube channel, and got a good amount of subscribers. Now, stay with me for this analogy. Of course, my channel isn't really that large in the grand scheme of things, but this kind of adds to my point, if anything, because I get tons of people asking me for my Discord, and I see the same guys in my comment section video after video, which is awesome. And I really do appreciate all the comments I get. They mean a lot. But if someone decided to unsub to my channel and never return, it really wouldn't affect my channel's standing, to say the least. Again, I'm not the biggest channel out there. I don't have that many views in the grand scheme of things. But just like how even low tier Becky has tons of orbiters, just one subscriber leaving me to just never watch my channel again isn't really going to affect my view count or my sub count or anything like that. And obviously I don't mean this in an ungrateful way, since I definitely would feel bad if a guy who has commented under all my videos suddenly disappeared. But at the same time, I think this analogy is something that can help you guys understand what I mean. And I would have never figured it out until I opened a channel, so there you go. And I think this is the reason why guys often feel so bad about fumbling a girl, since they have so few opportunities to begin with, compared to girls who have plenty of options. Because guys, I assure you none of the girls who have ever rejected me have been like, oh wow, I really regret rejecting Drathan all those years ago. I'm sure they would never care. They don't even think about me. Whereas every girl I had a chance with, I still think about them pretty often. I very often think about those times I had a chance to make meaningful connections to people or do fun things, and I screwed it up. Whenever I said yes to a potential friendship or an opportunity, I've ended up in a better place more often than not. I know for a fact that if I had said yes more in my youth, I would not be nearly as depressed and bitter as I am now, and I for sure would have never ended up making this channel. But for the burden of my past sins, I guess I'm stuck here. And of course, I know that for many of you guys watching this, there are no opportunities given to you. Nobody wants to be your friend, and no girl is interested in you. And that's kind of how I am now, so I totally understand that. But I'm speaking directly to those of you out there that have chances to date girls, and you keep rejecting these girls that do like you for the very small chance that you could date your one-itis. And this is just something you should not do. If you're given a chance to date anyone, even if it's an ogre, I think you should at least try to, because you're going to end up missing out on this crucial experience, this crucial development, and you're going to end up being some 31-year-old beta bucks, right? And you're going to end up dating that land whale, that ogre eventually one day. Like that girl I asked out yesterday, the one with a boyfriend, I would have never considered her an option in high school. I don't want to say she was chopped, because I definitely did find her attractive enough to consider dating her by my standards today. But she didn't exactly look like the girl in my thumbnail, which is an unrealistic standard regardless, right? I don't really expect to date a 10 out of 10 e-girl. But my point is, she wasn't the most attractive girl in the world. And at least with Scarlett, right, the girl from that party that I made a video about the other day, she actually did have a very striking resemblance to Hannah Owell, like the e-girl. But for this thumbnail, I just added her for the clicks, I guess. But that's kind of irrelevant. And this is the thing that really bothers me. I'll never know what it's like to have a date to the school prom. I'll never know what it's like to go on a road trip with my friends. I'll never know what it's like to stay up until 3 a.m. just talking to a girl and getting to know her. All because no one wants to make these memories with me. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with me. Nobody wants to be my friend. And I just have to miss it, right? I just have to come home every day alone and just miss out on this crucial experience while everyone else is just living it up. Well, not everyone, but every normal person. And these people who you complain to in real life, they don't care. Which is why I opened up this channel, because I just want to talk about my problems.
It's just a place for people to talk about their problems.
Without people just fucking gaslighting me or just telling me the most useless advice. These people don't want you to succeed in life. They don't want you to be happy. They'll just give you generic platitudes like, oh, bro, everyone gets lonely sometimes. Or make it seem like it's your fault that you're alone. Oh, it's your fault, bro. You just have to endlessly improve to get something in your early 30s that most people have in their teen years. And they basically just want you to sit there and take it like a good boy. The fact that you have to basically miss out on a huge chunk of your development and just smile like an idiot and beta buck some girl when she's out of her bop phase. This is supposed to be your calling. It's just completely ridiculous to me. It's not fair, and I'm not looking forward to it at all. Why can't I just have a relationship now? Why do I have to fucking wait 10 years to just have a normal experience and just be happy? And another common thing I see is that they want you to play into this whole rigged game, right? They want you to be invested in this clown dating market by blinding you with the illusion of progress. Don't worry, bro. You asked out a girl and got out of your comfort zone. Surely the next girl you ask out will say yes. Coming back to that whole illusion of progress thing, I do think hope is a really powerful thing. Like Rehab said, the need to cope is incredibly rooted in the human psyche. This past week has been incredibly stressful for me, and my night shifts at work are the least of it, because I at least message BABP, go subscribe to his new channel, to pass the time when I don't have work to do there. But the real reason I'm super stressed is because I have a really close friend of mine who's locked in a psychiatric hospital right now. And I've mentioned this individual on the channel before, and although I do clown on him, he still is a really good friend of mine. He's been facing a lot of stress at school since he overworks himself. But I definitely noticed a quote-unquote breaking point after he got rejected by a girl he was obsessed with. And I know that that's definitely the thing that led him to the point where he is now. I spent the last week visiting him and getting that whole situation cleaned up. And I've also been trying to help out his family with anything they need. For instance, I know that he's in the process of dropping school for this semester due to what happened. I had to find the dean's email for his parents to contact. And according to the social workers that have called me, he's apparently not been eating in the ward and he doesn't really speak to anyone other than muttering some cryptic phrases. And obviously this is part of a greater mental health issue. I think they mentioned it was psychosis or something. But as I mentioned, I spend basically the whole day with him every day. And after this rejection, that's what made him do a full 180 in behavior. He went from a super outgoing, positive guy to just this recluse who was super quiet before he just had a schizophrenic attack in class, according to some classmates. I wasn't really there for that. I wish I was, but I wasn't. And out of respect for him and his family, this whole ordeal is something I won't really ever cover in full detail on here. Since it's not really my story to tell, I've told you guys basically all you have to know for it to be relevant, because the rest of it's not really germane to the point I'm trying to make. This guy is a sub 6, and obviously has trouble in all walks of life, even more so than the average Joe. But it was his optimism that really kept the engine going. He was a really positive guy before this whole thing, and eventually that hope got smothered out, mainly by this rejection that he faced. And I really do feel bad for him, because those doctors and nurses in there are not your friends. As someone who has worked in a hospital, as well as someone who's been to the psychiatric ward as a patient, I can tell you that they immediately make fun of their patients the minute they think they're out of earshot. I really hope my buddy conquers his demons and gets over this, but from how it's looking, he's not gonna see the light of day till 2025. He's gonna be in there for a while. For me personally, I don't really feel all that devastated by rejection anymore. I don't want it to sound like a pity party and be like, it's okay, I'm used to being alone. So let's think of a more positive way to say this. Rather, I have adapted to constant rejection so that it doesn't really faze me anymore. There, that's better.
In the end, these small victories, like asking out a girl and getting rejected, or getting a job interview but not hearing back, can be moments of growth for us, and you should be proud of yourself for trying. But at the same time, don't be blind to your place in life. It can be a damning epiphany to realize that there are so many other people out there who did end up getting into a relationship or getting the job of their dreams, while you fruitlessly try over and over and over just to get nowhere. But hey, as long as it keeps you out of the psych ward, I don't think celebrating a small victory here and there, even if it's a small drop in the bucket, is all that bad. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
This is a certified PSL classic.